Hey, my name's Elektron, and today we're going to be messing around with the Major Lazer Lean On mix. And what I mean by that is I went ahead and made the main synth and some of the other synths and drum patterns as best as I could in Alchemy, which is Logic Pro X's, big synth. You might be asking yourself, why did I wait a whole, 2 years before doing a video on this song? Is it still relevant? Well, I don't know if it's still relevant, but the main synth happened to be a synth that I've just been chasing since it's been out. I love it, but I never knew how to make the synth. And finally today, I opened up Alchemy and just got as close as I could to that synth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it for you and then go ahead and break down every layer, remake every layer from scratch, and hopefully we can learn some cool stuff today. So I'm going to play it. Alright, so the big guy here is these. I'm going to show you what these chords look like before we even jump into making the sound. They look like this. I think I got those pretty spot on. They sound like the original. So these things are such a big thing in my life because it took me so long to get even close to what the original sounds like. It took me so long. It took me the whole 2 years the song's been out. Why were they so hard? I don't know. They just have this authentic, unique sound. I don't know if they used a preset. I don't know what synth they might have used, if they used a synth. But this sound was not that easy to make. So I'm going to show you the way I went forth with making this sound happen. So I wrote my chords and they sounded like this. Even though I already showed you the chords, but they sound like that by default when you open up and clear out Alchemy. First thing I did is I thought it was a saw wave, but it is not. It is a square wave that is the main waveform. And if it's not, it's gotta be close to a square. And if it's not, geez, I just don't know. This sound's gonna kill me. But I came down to here and I used one of the LP4s to make this sound happen. Let's close that up and let's add it to a new AHDSR. And let's make this a pluck here. So we should get something like this. Something like that. Let's bulk this up a little bit and drag this unison knob up. Pretty cool, but it's not quite our attack sound of choice because now I'm gonna click this, and then this depth thing here is kind of like same thing as strength. I'm gonna boost this resonance just a little bit. Actually, that's not really a little bit, but So now we have something like that. That can be the attack of our sound. Now what I want to do is I want to start messing around with the EQ here. I'm just going to pull that down because I'm not really ready to introduce that What I did with this EQ is I low cut it because we have a special bass line on its own layer. I took a little bit of this range out because there's a nice spike there, so I just took that down a bit, and when I'm ready to fine tune, I might pull this area up a little bit. Not right now though. Let's throw some sustain and release area of this sound in. Let's get a little bit of warmth. I liked this sine wave for warmth to this sound. Whoops, let's not touch this yet, because we gotta go here and add modulation to B's cutoff knob. This is what's cool about Alchemy. Each oscillator has its own filter. I've never seen that before. It's gotta cost your CPU so much damage, but definitely a cool feature. Like I said before, let's just choose one of the LP4 envelopers, and we're gonna make this sine wave a little bit longer of a pluck, and I'm gonna remove the attack to it. So without it, it should sound like this. And with it, we should get a little bit more stuff filled in there. You get that nice little hum in the background. Let's boost up our unison. So we get something like that, a little bit of warmth. Let's go to C and add another square wave. This is going to be another one of those warmth sounds. We don't need anything on the attack, so I'm going to go ahead and shape this with yet another HDSR envelope. So as you can see, I'm adding a bunch of HDSR envelopes, and that's just strictly so I can gain as much control as possible over the sound. So let's go over here, and this is going to be a little tough, so let's bring the depth down just to save ourselves. And it's a little drowned out, so let's pull some unison up. So now we have kind of our attack, and then we have our tail. There's a little bit of leveling out that you really should do, so you can get the perfect volume attack with versus the perfect volume tail, because it can start to sound like these sounds fight each other. So right now it sounds like my tail's a little bit louder than I want it to be relative to the attack of the sound. So all I'm going to do is see if my compressor can't fix that, and if it can't, then I'm going to have to go back into Alchemy and redesign the sound, throw a little bit more effort into the sound. But for now, I'm just going to try to compress it. So they're still kind of sticking out a little, so what I'm going to do is just take the volumes of the tails down a little. And it sounds like I can go ahead and lengthen this attack up a little bit. So let's go into number 2, or let's lengthen the decay, not the attack. I think I just lengthened that up. I can't tell. Anyway, There's one last thing to do to make these really pretty, and that's add some bit crusher. Bit crusher's in distortion, and then yeah, bit crusher. So go ahead and open that up, and these are the exact settings I got. Just get that little bit of downsampling on the attack. Let's turn this off and see what it sounds like. And it sounds pretty cool. And then you can go ahead and layer it with a nice deep bass line. Now this bass line you may or may not view as difficult, but it's not difficult. All you have to do with this is go into your chords, take the chords, and we can, or take the base of the chords, not the chords, I'm sorry. I don't know what I just pasted there, but whatever it was, it didn't paste where I wanted it to. So let's go and try that again. Command V, there we go. So now I have the bass notes of our sound, but keep in mind I did duplicate this sound, so we got to turn off some things here. We could pretty much turn everything off. This is just a side chainer. So now we have this by default. You could use that. Me, when I'm working with bass, I like to turn my unison all the way off for minimal phasing. So I get something like that, and then of course, what is a bass line that is not compressed? I like to squash my bass lines. This bass line does have a little bit of bit crusher on it. I don't want the bit crush sound to be too loud, so I turn my mix knob down a bit on my bass line. Just so it's barely being bit crushed, but that bit crusher sound is really relevant in the lead, so I don't want too much ringing. But that's how I managed that bass line. Let's get rid of these two things, and we can move on to the drums. The drums sound like this. Now these drums, again, they are very, very unique. It's tough to remake this stuff completely, like, perfectly as it is, but what I could do, and like what I did, is go as close as I could. One of these is very overcompressed. As you can see, the level here is inconsistent, and what we hear is inconsistent as well. And that will probably be the reason why you don't want that much compression on a snare. It'll literally shoot your eardrums out. So that's a nice little lesson there. So anyway, let me just make sure this one isn't, because that first drum is a lot stronger than that second one. Yeah, definitely a little less in there. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, these two drums, I ended up using one layer, which is the Adept Machine Kit in Ultrabeat, which is Logic's Ultrabeat. For the second layer, I used a rim shot from Splice.com. However, you do not need to do that. I could have found a rim shot in Ultrabeat that would have worked fine, but I ended up getting a little bit impatient, and it's just so easy to go up here and, you know, be like, click on browse and then just drag in a rim shot. it was just so easy, and I've been trying to use Splice lately because I never used it and I accumulated all these credits. So I'm sorry for not using an Ultra Beat on that level, but I use Ultra Beat everywhere else, I believe, besides the kick. The kick is also another sample from Splice.com. As for the hat, I went ahead with hats that look and sound like this. Randomized velocities, but with a nice rhythm, so it's not really random, it's just a different velocity hitting at certain parts of the rhythm, not random parts of the rhythm. You want this rhythm to really kind of roll, especially with this tropical sounding drop, or whatever you would call this build up area. So we get something like that, and that of course is from the hi-hat bank in Ultra Beat. The latest version of Logic Pro X comes with Ultra Beat that has the hi-hat bank kit. So we get something like that. And then together we get something like this. Alright. There's something wrong here because those things are spiking again. And I don't know. I guess it's some kind of crazy phase going on there because they spike on the first hit. As you can see, like it just happened there. Why is that happening? I don't think I have any explanation for that. I guess I would have to scrap that and then come back to it to find out why that's happening. But if you're unclear on what I'm wondering about, so there, if you see like one hit here and another hit here, the first hit is way louder than the second hit. And I'm really not sure why that's happening. Anyway, let's keep moving. This is the Boutique 78 kit, and I'm using one of the tambourine sounds, and this is just simply placed throughout the beat. So let's play the beat real quick, and alright, you know what? It kind of added to that tropical feel. In the original version, I did hear some sort of tambourine-ish sound in the background, so I just went ahead and added that. The last sound sounds like this. If you go and listen to the original version, there is this weird clicky sound on top of the kick, and this happened to sound really close to that clicky sound. And then it did these little triple things halfway through the bar. So we got something like that. But yeah, guys, pretty much this is the main idea. Everything here, they kind of just restructured it. They do have a little vocal chop drop in there, but the main vocalist was in that drop, so I didn't want to use any parts of the original in this video. I just want to make everything from scratch. But anyway, this was like the main idea of the drop. This is how I would go about making sounds similar to that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, my name's Alex Rome. Stay tuned for more awesome stuff.